Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with an old school wrestling video for you today. Today I'm talking about WCW Slamboree 1996, live from St. Petersburg, Florida. Not too far from where I am right now. This show was so damn shitty, I didn't even bother changing this shirt. It's still Deadpool, man. I mean, come on. I don't like Deadpool. Anyhow, the reason I picked this show, there's a couple of reasons. Of course, St. Pete had a lot to do with it. This was before I got into pro wrestling, which is always a plus for me, and also not an event I am aware of, was aware of or had ever seen before. There's one very famous incident that happens on this show that I'll get to when we get to it. And the opening match of this event was part of a DVD collection called Allied Powers or Allied Forces, something like that. WWE put out in I think 2009, 2008. I think it was 2009, and it was hosted by the Miz and Morrison, and it was just nothing but tag team matches, celebrating the best tag teams of all time, best tag team matches. There were in no specific order; it was all over the place. 3 discs of this, and it is my favorite wrestling collection DVD I own. I really love that thing. It's a great thing to have. So yeah, let's get into it. There are a couple of matches to talk about. First off, I'm not going to go through them, but there were 4 dark matches at this event, and the combined time between those 4 matches was less than 10 minutes. I mean, can you really get the crowd warmed up if you only got like 90 seconds? I mean, if you're Goldberg just ripping through poor sons of bitches. Anyhow, we open the show. First off, we got to acknowledge that our commentating team is a 3-man team of Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the American Dream of Death Rose, baby. Say what you want about Jim Ross and Paul Heyman. I wasn't a fan of their color commentary team. I don't know. They irritated me. I didn't like all the bickering. You know what I mean? I thought these 3 guys were very, very funny together. You can tell that Heenan and Dusty Rhodes like working together. And you can tell that Tony Schiavone is out there on cloud 9 with 2 of his heroes in pro wrestling. So I always thought those 3 worked very well together. We also have Mean Gene Okerlund doing his backstage interviews and pimping that hotline. You know he's pimping that hotline. 1-900-909-9900. Kids, get your parents' permission to call. And his scoop on this one really was great because, like I said, it was the first Super Brawl after the Monday Night Wars, and it was the last one before the debut of the NWO, who are a big part of all but the last Super Brawls after this. So I was interested if there were any seeds. I knew there weren't going to be because we're still in the Dungeon of Doom era, and that was rough. But yeah, man, Mean Gene going, word of 2 World Wrestling Federation superstars defecting to World Championship Wrestling. Call the hotline and get the scoop. Oh, fuck, did you get a scoop? Because he is definitely talking about the outsiders. I've said many times before. Say what you want about the Monday Night Wars. Say what you want about Stone Cold Steve Austin, his badassness, the madness of ECW, the zeitgeist, Jerry Springer, Russo-esque writing of the time. Maybe nothing was more important to the boom period of pro wrestling in the 90s than Scott Hall. And started with his bad guy Razor Ramon character back in 93, 92. He planted the seed for it all. None of it would have happened without Scott Hall. At least that's what I believe. And no one's going to convince me otherwise. So let's start the show. Opening match is a tag team street fight. We got the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock, taking on the team of the Nasty Boys, who are Brian Knobbs and Jerry Sags. And I was a kid. It was a bigger kid. It was a big guy. I'm a big guy. Anyways, I mean, I'm not too tall, but I'm a sturdy fucker. I've always said that if I would have become a pro wrestler and gotten cut and gotten the best shape and gotten a natural physique, I would have probably been built like, Rhino, Devon Dudley, guys like that. So I always liked these kind of dudes. And yeah, sure, mostly, especially these four specific guys, are basically just brawlers. And that's what this is. This is a brawl, but that's what you get. All four of these guys playing into their strengths. And just anytime you hear Dusty Rhodes call a match like this, it is very, very entertaining. All about the plunder and the brutality. It was great. The finish is the best part here. Oh god, which one was it? It's Rocco Rock is about to jump off like a low level balcony with the fans. Low level section onto a merch table and go crashing onto Brian Knobbs. Knobbs moves. Rocco Rock crashes through it, smashes the table, but instead of just pinning him, Brian Knobbs picks up half of the broken table and body slams himself down with the broken table under Rocco Rock and then pins him. And then they keep there's a few extra punches and shoving after the match. It was great. I'm sorry, but I love and appreciate the smug. There's some smugness to it too, but the snug, intelligent, character-driven storytelling wrestling that you'll get from guys like Daniel Bryan or the Young Bucks or John Cena. But damn, sometimes you just can't beat a good old-fashioned brawl. So I enjoyed the shit out of this match. I loved this opening match. So up next, we have a match for two things on the line. The World Television Championship defended by Johnny B. Bad with the beautiful Kimberly, the most stunning woman in the history of professional wrestling. I don't care. She looks more like Wonder Woman than Wonder Woman does. He's defending the the TV title and Kimberly's $6 million bingo winnings against DDP. And sure, this match goes way too long. They could have trimmed a good 5 minutes out of this match. But Johnny B. Bad I got so sick of these two fighting. It seemed like for 2 straight years, the only guy DDP ever wrestled was fucking Johnny B. Bad. It was awful. So what was best thing about this match was Kimberly and Bobby Heenan's commentary. He's way more interested in the $6 billion than the television championship. Eventually, DDP goes for a tombstone. Johnny Bad reverses, rolls out of it, cartwheels out of it, hits a tombstone of his own, and gets the win. And was honestly a pretty good match, even though I don't ever need to see these two guys wrestle again. B-Bad was textbook. Mark Marrow is textbook enhancement talent. That's not an insult. The guy was reliable workhorse. Guys like X-Pac were like that. And without the long-running feuds Johnny B. Bad had with guys like Steve Austin and DDP, they may have never gotten quite that pruning they needed to become the proper main event workhorses that they became. So, he was talented, he was good, but he wasn't a star. He wasn't a main event guy. Even though anytime he's on a match on one of these old shows I do, crowd loves him. Hero or heel, States or Canada, they will go nuts for Johnny B. Bad. They love the man. He was appreciated in his time, even if he isn't really now. Let me pause this for a second. So up next, we got a bit of a story thing going on here. Sting and Lex Luger are the World Tag Team Champions, but they have 2 number 1 contenders. So they will be defending the championships in 2 different separate matches here at the pay-per-view. They did this a lot in WCW, where Sting would be a babyface, but Lex Luger is a heel, but Lex Luger is his best friend, so Sting would naively and even foolishly always be there with Lex to have his back and fight his battle, help him fight his battles, and often Luger would just, split out the back and leave his Sting to get his ass kicked on his behalf. And it's basically the story going on here. The Road Warriors want to beat the shit out of Lex Luger. And the Harlem Heat just want the titles. So Harlem Heat get the first opportunity against Luger and Sting, and this is a really good tag team match. All four guys in great shape. Sting works well. Lots of story here being Luger avoiding action, avoiding contact, making Sting do all the work. Luger finally does get in there. Oh, was it Booker or Stevie? I want to say it was Stevie, but fuck, man, I can't remember now. I want to say it was Stevie who's the legal man, but he's going for like a pile driver or something. And Road Warrior Animal, I'm pretty sure it was Animal. Well, I can't remember it was Animal, but not if it was Stevie fucking Ray. What the hell, man? Now I look racist. He comes in with a bar plate. It looked like a bar plate. See, I'm half blind anyways. You cut me some slack here. And I watched this fucking thing on my phone while I was cooking dinner. I was paying attention, but I got things to do. So he hits Batman. Oh, gotta get back to Batman, too. Gotta get on that, too. Anyhow, he hits, I'm gonna say Stevie Ray, but watch it be Booker T. Hits Stevie Ray in the back with the bar plate. Luger falls on him, and Luger and Sting retain the titles. Harlem Heat were screwed here. Straight up. Sting did most of the match himself and didn't even get the win. So later on, Sting and Luger have to come back out and defend the titles against the Road Warriors. I kind of think it would have been a better storytelling and just all around better storytelling, better television if they're out now, just ring the bell, start the match, and Sting doesn't even realize the last match has ended. Kind of situation. He's in a new fight now. Now it's against the fucking Road Warriors, who are just as dangerous as Harlem Heat. But we get it later. Up next is for the United States Championship, Conan defending against the One Man Gang. Now it's just this match comes in about an hour into the show, and I just can't help but feel it's like the booker looking at you. Look, we know it's an hour in. The big matches are coming up. If you need time to take a piss, get another beer, or refill the popcorn, this is the match to do that on. I mean, I got nothing against the One Man Gang. I think he was even eyeballed one time as a potential WWE champion, just so he could feud with Hogan. But in Conan, look, I hate Conan as a babyface. I've never really been impressed with him as a worker. He always seems like... Same thing with bad stunt choreography. Like, you can see the person counting the moves. I always got that off of Conan. But as a heel, he's one of the best promos in the history of the business. No pussyfooting around it. I gotta fill 18 minutes with this promo. He goes for the throat. He goes for blood. And knows how to get heat from a crowd. He is one of the best heel promos ever, and I'm not exaggerating about that. But as a babyface, and even as a wrestler, I could always take him or leave him. At the time, to hate it, I actually really disliked him quite a bit. I mean, I felt he just didn't fit with the Wolfpack. I mean, you got world champions and guys who could sell out venues anywhere in the world, and here's Conan. Which, yeah, he was a huge star in Mexico. No getting around it whatsoever. But, I mean, even compared to other Latin American performers of his time, he didn't draw like Eddie or Ray. At least not later, at least. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on Conan. Anyhow, this wasn't a bad match, in all honesty.
Dad.
Hold on, baby.
Do you know where our mommy's laptop?
Good thing I paused this, y'all. That turned into a whole damn thing. It's gone for like 25 minutes. Anyhow, I know it was on the U.S. title match. It was okay, basic. This guy uses his power and strength. This guy uses his speed and agility. Conan hit a second rope springboard, corkscrew, standing senton on him. Been One Man Gang to retain the title. Was a bad match, but like I said, popcorn. Now, up next, actually, I do need to take a breath just for this. Ouch, sorry, y'all. Oh, yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah. So up next is a famous match. Brian Pillman versus Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster. And the stipulation here is it's an I Quit strap match. I think it's actually an interesting idea for a way to mix two gimmicks. People try to do a lot. Like the I Quit Hell in a Cell they did during the pandemic with Roman and Jay Uso. But match never starts. Match never really gets going. Brian Pillman puts on the strap, famously says, "I respect you, Booker man," then drops out of the ring and rolls away. The whole thing was to kick off a work shoot. He would pretend to quit, go to WWF, or go to the Indies, build up interest, and then come back and feud with Sullivan. But he was actually out of his contract, going to go to the Indies, build up a reputation, and then go to WWF, which he did, but suffered a serious injury, and his career never recovered until his tragic, sudden death in October of '97. It sucks. But this was an infamous thing because nobody knew. Everybody thought it was a shoot. Everybody thought it was a work. I mean, two different things. Everybody thought it was real, that Pillman had just thrown this match and quit the company. And I mean, it's really driven home because none of the commentators mentioned the fact that he said Booker Man. None of them even mentioned Pillman's name afterwards or how bizarre that was. Instead, Arn Anderson comes out and he puts on the fucking strap. Now things get really fucking stupid because these guys don't have any history. They're apparently even supposed to be friends at this time. But now they're going to have the I Quit strap match just because, well, we promoted one. The crowd seems to be into it, but literally not even 5 minutes into the match, Ric Flair comes down and tells him, "Stop this, we got to work together, we got to beat Hulk Hogan," and all this kind of stuff, and cuts a little promo in the middle of the ring saying Hogan, insinuating Hogan put Pillman up to that. Wasn't Pillman in the Horseman? It just doesn't make sense. And they go to the back. So 2 strap matches, neither one really happened, and it was all supposed to go that way. Go figure. Up next is our second tag team title match. Road Warriors want Luger's ass. Luger's scared shitless, and Sting is taking quite a beating already. There's a lot of stalling before this match by Luger, which I thought was a bad call after all the shit that had just happened. They fight. They have a match. There's plenty of tags and it works. But as soon as it falls to the floor, it just turns into a big outside scramble, a Donnybrook, a schmoz, and there's a double count out. And that sucks. No, they were doing triangle matches already at this time. They should have just gone for that, or gone for more of a tournament thing. I just don't think to stretch a story out into 2 different matches and 2 different segments just to pay it all off with a non-finish to build up to a rematch the next month. I thought it was disappointing. A rematch, I believe, Lex Luger won't even be involved in. Wasn't it him they wanted to fight? It was a mess. That was a mess. They fucked up an interesting story they had running throughout the course of the show. Now we bring out Michael Buffer, WCW's Master of Ceremonies, to lower the steel cage for our double steel cage main event. And God, fucking Hogan. First up, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Dig it! Yeah! Yes, right. Yeah. Defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Now, the Nature Boy got woman in his corner, and Macho Man got Miss Elizabeth in his corner, her gorgeous, gorgeous of herself. Look, this story had gone back all the way to May. Oh my God, I'm stuttering here. Ric Flair had been kayfabed forced into retirement short before Macho Man joins WCW. Ric Flair attacks Angelo Poffo, Macho's father, real-life father, at 2 back-to-back pay-per-views. This is building up a legit blood feud. They're fighting each other, attacking each other again and again and again all year long. Excuse me. Macho Man wins the world title. in a big battle royal in November, and they've traded the belts back since Starrcade. Now, this is supposed to be this big blow-off match, and it isn't. But it was supposed to be the big blow-off inside the steel cage, and this was easily the best match tonight. Is it the best Savage Flair match? No, I would probably lean towards their Great American Bash 95 match. Great American Bash 95, yeah, it was that one. But there's several spots in this that they took their time before they finally got to the blood. And then only Flair bleeds. I figured both guys would bleed like pigs in this one. This beautiful spot where they're both fighting on the top rope. And Flair levels Savage. And Savage falls straight back. Right in between the ropes and the steel cage. Smashed flat on his back on the apron. And it was beautiful. It was just so smooth. There's not enough room for a man in that area. He just, like a goddamn Tetris game. It was beautiful. Savage was a master in the ring. He really was. He may be the all-time greatest. If you were to tell me Macho Man Randy Savage is the greatest who ever did it, I will not argue with you. Eventually, epic reveal towards the end. Miss Elizabeth turns heel. It seems like they have fucked up the finish. Savage, the woman goes to throw powder into Savage's eyes, but he ducks, and the powder goes nowhere. He low blows an H, and while he's going to open the cage door to get out of the cage that way, Miss Elizabeth slams the door in his face. Elizabeth turns heel for the first time in her career, even when he was a heel in the 80s. She wasn't a heel with him. She was his beautiful valet. That woman's too gorgeous to dislike. But then Nature Boy hits Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth high heel and pins him to become the new 13-time world champion. Nature Boy has again humiliated and defeated Randy Savage. He's stolen the world championship, and more importantly, Miss Elizabeth has joined the dark side. This should have been the main event. But there's one more match. The Giant versus Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan helps Macho Man out of the ring during this match because, God forbid, this isn't about Hogan somehow. So we get the Giant Hulk Hogan, and this is even promoted as an anything goes unsanctioned steel cage match. Opposed to all the other massively big rules you have in a steel cage match. Like you can't use a closed fist. There's no hair pulling, and there's certainly no name calling in a steel cage match. This was just so bad. Just two big guys. Look, I love the Giant. I love Hulk Hogan in my way. But just Giant's still green. Hogan doesn't want to work. The crowd is hating it. They're chanting Hogan sucks. Hogan eventually wins the match by escaping the cage. And they're planning the whole time in this match that Hogan has an injured right eye. He's blind in one eye, but still going into battle. And by the way, there's no stakes on the line, There's literally nothing on the line in this, but it's bigger than the world title. Okay. So Hogan wins the match. Then they all get back in the cage. The entire Dungeon of Doom runs down, and Hulk Hogan, by himself with one eye, is able to fight off all 8 men. Big ass Loch Ness comes down. Is an old British wrestler. Incredibly, just huge man. He looks like a walking silo. He comes out like he's going to get in the ring. The Dungeon of Doom is all holding him back. Clearly, the guy was only brought into WCW because another big guy for Hogan to fight to try to get over. But he ended up with not wrestling Hogan and then even be out of the company by like the end of the next month. So that the SuperBrawl VI. Clearly, not only is there no planting of the seeds for the NWO, it's clearly not even on anyone's mind. No one's even thinking along the lines of anything like this right now. Hall and Nash are about 3 months away from coming into the company, and they're so desperate to get Hulk Hogan over, and it's just not working. It's not working. Opposed to Randy Savage, who the crowd loved, and Sting, who the crowd loved, and even Johnny B. Bad, who this crowd really loved. And that's kind of an issue too on this show. Not a lot of, in the way of baby faces you can get behind. I mean, the Road Warriors are baby faces, but they're wrestling like heels a lot. Like I said, the crowd's not behind Hogan at all. No one in the whole strap match scenario was a baby face. And even in the opening match, after seeing that match many times over the years, I can't tell you who was face and heel in the opening street fight. And Conan, as I said, he was a boring babyface, always was. Ultimately, I gotta say, I enjoyed the first hour of the show. I enjoyed the world title match. And I liked the story the tag team thing was trying to tell. And yes, the strap match thing, the Booker Man incident, was fascinating to see for its little piece of wrestling history. And that kind of goes for this whole show. I surprisingly enjoyed this show quite a bit. I had a lot of fun while it was on. I hated that main event, and I think as I am as a wrestling fan, I've probably been disappointed in the show overall. I would have paid like $30 or had to go there and watch it in person. Because, yeah, Hogan shouldn't have gone last. The tag team title match should have had some kind of resolution. But other than those two big glaring things, and also the fact, why restart the strap match if you weren't going to do the match? So basically, you promoted a strap match, had two strap matches, and never had a strap match. There was never a strap match. But it's I would recommend the show. I mean, it's no more than like a C. But it is interesting for its little place in wrestling history. Just like I said, the fascinating era it took place in, what was happening at that time in pro wrestling, and what was just on the verge. For those reasons, plus a few good matches, I would recommend SuperBrawl VI. For March, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. I might actually break down and watch Jackass 4. It is, after all, an Academy Award nominated film franchise. Anyhow, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I suppose March is going to be WrestleMania of some sort, unless I decide to do one of those old, awful, uncensored pay-per-views. Tell me if you give a shit which. I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.